Okay, guys, today we're going to start talking about some interventions in equilibrium that kind of take this discussion of equilibrium to the next level, and we start to look at some manipulation. Kind of, I guess, supply and demand part two, if you will. The first thing I want to talk about is a price floor. A price floor is a minimum price, okay? The government sets if it feels that the market price is too low for some reason. Normally, this is something for like a commodity like corn or dairy. You might hear price supports in agriculture. So let's say this is the market for milk. We're at price equilibrium, quantity equilibrium, right? And the government says, that's too low. We need to help out the producers of this particular product. So they set what's called a price floor. Now, don't be confused, okay? When you hear floor, you think below. But a price floor is set above equilibrium to prevent the price from going down to equilibrium. The floor blocks any further movement downward towards the equilibrium level, okay? So in this case, the price floor is set at PF. And you can see that the quantity supplied then on the x-axis greatly exceeds the quantity demanded. Why is that? Well, we've set an artificial price floor. The supply now is going to be more than previous, and the quantity demanded, the quantity supplied, I should say, the quantity demanded will be less than previously demanded at equilibrium. So there's a surplus. Maybe we'll export that. Maybe the government will buy that grain and will sell it to schools cheap or something along those lines, or donate it. But this is the general theory. When a price floor is set, the price can't fall, and you get an artificially high price, which creates a surplus in the market. The more inelastic both demand and supply, the smaller that surplus. Think about it. If we're not price sensitive, a higher price doesn't make us produce a lot more or consume a lot less. A higher price in an elastic market would exacerbate the surplus and make it larger. What if we set a price floor below equilibrium? Well, that might come into play in the future, but for right now, the price floor is ineffective because the equilibrium will be allocating or rationing the good. Let's talk about a price ceiling, okay? A price ceiling is something set by a government that feels the price is too high. This could be a rent control, a certain good, like energy or something along those lines. And that's the example that they used in the energy crisis during the 1970s. Check this out. So here's equilibrium, right? Okay. Here is the price ceiling. The government says that price is too high for consumers. We'll just artificially come in and set the ceiling here. Well, you can see what that does. That leads to a shortage. The quantity demanded at that lower price will way exceed the quantity supplied. And depends on elasticity again. If it's an inelastic demand, it's not going to change much. But if it's an elastic demand, the quantity demanded will exceed that quantity supplied by a more significant level, and the shortage will be larger. In other words, the government steps in, puts a price below equilibrium, and more people want it and less producers supply it, leading to a shortage. The shortage quantity is measured here by D, quantity demanded, minus quantity supplied. That's the shortage. How much will actually be consumed? That's a good point. How much will actually be consumed in this market? The quantity supplied. Here's the actual quantity supplied of, let's say, gasoline or housing, where we have an artificial price control. Okay? Good luck. There's a few problems on this, and they'll get even more interesting when we look at taxation and consumer producer surplus. See ya.